Yesterday, my dad told me he doesn't think I have what it takes to become an entrepreneur. We were sitting down having this discussion about my future, about my aspirations, everything that I envision for myself, my big plans. And he said, based on what he knows about me, who I am, my characteristics, he doesn't think I have it in me. Now I could stand here and argue, complain to you guys, list all the reasons why I think he's wrong. He's out of touch, he's an old-fashioned guy, he doesn't respect me or my work. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not just going to stand here and complain like a bitch, because that wouldn't change anything. That would all be futile. He's convinced himself that I can't do it, so arguing with him, that wouldn't accomplish anything. That would just put a strain on our relationship. And he's my dad, I don't want that. So the solution that I came up with was, I'm just not going to talk to him about that stuff anymore. What's the point? Why does he deserve to know all my plans if he's just going to tear me down? But guys, then I realised something. I realised I haven't been doing myself any favours by running my mouth about all these plans, by telling my dad about how I'm going to become a millionaire, how I'm on this incredible upwards trajectory, how I'm made for great things, because that's all meaningless. I'm going to be honest with you because authenticity is very important to me. I want to be open and honest with my viewers. I want you guys to get to know me, who I am, and that includes being accountable about my flaws, the things that I've been doing wrong. So, for a long while now, I feel like I haven't been operating at maximum efficiency. I've been letting myself down, I've been letting you guys down, to be honest. I feel like I'm so far away from my peak performance, where I used to be, where I was really committed to this YouTube grind and just making quality content for you guys. You know, shit that I would watch. But you can probably tell all that because my YouTube has suffered. I haven't been able to maintain a consistent routine about uploading content for a long time now, coming up to about 3 or 4 months. And I'm going to do everything in my power to change that. But what I've realised is, by running my mouth like that, there is something I stand to gain. I get to feel like I am that guy. I'm this ultra productive guy, that I am the person who's going to achieve great things, who's going to be this successful YouTuber. When I receive validation from my friends, when I tell them about these goals and they acknowledge them, they say, oh, well done man, that's great. But what I realised was, there is something I do stand to gain. And what I've realised is, when I do this, when I run my mouth, when I talk to my friends and family about these goals, these big plans, I'm coping. I get to feel like I am that guy, that I am this guy who's on the upwards trajectory, who's meant for great things. Really, all I'm seeking is their validation. And it's such a facade. I get to feel like I am that guy for a split second without putting in any of the work, without making the sacrifices that come with that. I'm so far away right now from where I used to be, and I want to get back to that. I know I'm going to get back to that. Back then I didn't care about this validation. I didn't care about anyone knowing about this grind that I was putting in. I think my most productive period when it came to YouTube was probably like autumn and winter time. Back then I was sacrificing my social life, cutting off friends because I so badly wanted to make this work. Coming into my lectures late because I was so focused on writing quality scripts. Staying up until 1, 2 a.m. because I had problems uploading. That was how much I cared. That was its own reward. I wasn't seeking validation from anyone. What I've realised is, at some point I really thrived on this idea of being the guy who was a bit mysterious, who seemed to not really care about work, but was still getting the top results. And that that kind of comes into like my university work and the stuff I've gotten out on YouTube over the past year. My course mates would always tell me things like, Tom, it just seems like naturally you just get the best grades or whatever, or you're so organised, how do you do all this, you seem so laid back. Because I kind of embodied that persona. I tried to come across as this chill guy who didn't really care about too much, but was like naturally gifted, was getting all the high grades. My camera fucking died, so I had to go home and charge it. But where did I leave off? I think I was talking about that facade that I was maintaining, that I'm this guy who doesn't really care about too much, but always is like naturally gifted, always achieves the best results. That's what my classmates used to think of me. Even though behind the scenes I was fucking working myself to death. And this is actually a concept that gets talked about in a book called The 48 Laws of Power, which is good. The law in that book is make your accomplishments look effortless. So make it seem like everything you do, you're just naturally gifted in. And this is kind of a way of enhancing your reputation, enhancing your status, even if it is a bit of a facade. It gives people the impression that you're just this kind of mysterious character who excels in absolutely everything he does, and that can be advantageous. But that's besides the point. I'm not that person anymore. And do you know what the difference between me then and me now is? Back then I had some results. I was putting out content consistently. I was working my absolute hardest, as close to peak as I've probably been hitting. And that's not the case anymore. Really, everything is just meaningless unless you've got the results. That's why I feel the need to run my mouth so much. It's because I want to feel like I'm still that person. So hopefully you're following, but to kind of make it a bit more relatable to you, because I'm sure there's somewhere you could apply this to your life. I'll give you an example. So this is kind of like the guy who suddenly announces to his friends that he's going to start going to the gym 5 days a week. And really his friends know he's probably not going to follow through with it, because why would they? He's probably skinny, he probably has a track record of not following through with this type of thing, but they're trying to make him feel good because they're mates, they don't want to tear him down. And he receives their validation, but deep down he probably knows he's not going to follow through with it. It's a fucking bug on my camera, bro. Get the shit off that. Fucking hell. But yeah, he knows he's not going to follow through with that deep down. But for that split second, he gets to feel like the bodybuilder. He gets to feel like the guy who's been putting in the work. When if he did have the makings of a bodybuilder, he would just fucking go and do it. He would just go and put the work in. He would go and hit the gym every morning at 8 AM without having the need to go and talk to all his friends. And then his results would speak for themselves. They'd be seeing his capped shoulders, his big biceps. And they would know that finally he's followed through with what he said he was going to do. My dad was one of the only people who denied me the validation that I was seeking. And I'm grateful to him for that, because I feel like this is it's kind of been an awakening for me. I've always been kind of aware, maybe I was in a state of denial, but this has kind of brought it to the surface. Honestly, when someone doubts you, that's a powerful form of motivation, but until I have the results, my dad's not obliged to respect me. He's not obliged to take my work seriously. And honestly, I have no excuse not to be working on content every day. I have zero excuse not to do that. I see my dad struggling at the moment, my family. I see him working long hours. I see the stress on his face about our current set of circumstances financially. Everything's getting more expensive, energy, food, all of that, and I can see it's causing him stress. So I've been thinking, the type of results I'd like to achieve are ones that kind of takes the weight off his burden. I think that would be a very noble thing to do. And if I were to make his life easier in that way, if I were to pay off his mortgage, if I were to make sure he goes to bed without a care in the world, without any financial stress, I think that would be a beautiful way for things to come full circle. Because I'm not angry at him for holding me accountable for things like that. Before I came out to film this, I said thank you to my dad. I said thank you for always challenging me, even if it's not what I want to hear at the time. For taking my ego down a notch. For always offering his help and support to me, even if it's not in the most direct way. Right now he was kind of helping me without realizing it, because he's almost reinforced my dream of becoming an entrepreneur. I'm even more determined than I was before. But I'm grateful to him for that. That's all for today, bro. Take care.